This here is the all-new Audi Q5, new generation, new platform, combustion engine, mild hybrid, plug-in hybrid, everything you need to know about this here with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. And we start here with our ultra blue Q5. This is here the SQ5, the performance model that will come again. And usually the SQ5 would have bright accentuations here around the front grille. However, this one here equipped with the extended black package, and therefore everything then here is darked out, so you can pick it like this. Also then here with the darkened out Audi rings, but you do not have to do that. In general, the new Q5 generation is more aerodynamic, so small optimizations here and there, even in the underfloor and so on and so on, and supposed to bring you more efficiency. Soon more to that when we talk about the engines under the hood. New light technology, here this then the optional matrix LED. You have LED, LED Plus, and then the matrix LED as the top trim. You can pick individual light signatures, for example, and you also have these turning cascading indicators, cascading turning indicators. That's the way. This is the way. And then towards the side profile, slightly increase in length, like 3.5 centimeters or 1.5 inches in comparison to the predecessor. This here now 4.72 meters or 186 inches. Wheels from 17 to 21 inch, and these are indeed the biggest one available. Wow, this looks really stunning, doesn't it? In this case also here with the red brake calipers as a contrast for the SQ5. And you can see it has this typical SUV shape, strong shoulder area or hip area, and it will also be again available as the Q5 or SQ5 Sportback, where it's a little bit cut off then here in this area. This is to come a little bit later. The SUV version will launch first. You can also see here the wheel arches are painted in vehicle color like this. And then in this case then you have with the SQ5 here this high gloss black insert then at the side together with the black package. Of course, as I said, usually it would look a little bit more brighter, contrastish, but this is then this more sinister look. Suspension wise, you get a fixed base suspension, a fixed sports suspension. However, they already have a passive dampening with the frequency adaptive dampers. That means depending on the amplitude, like a strong or like a, you know, we have a wave or you have cobblestones, it basically has a wider span of comfort and sportiness, but in a passive way. You cannot adjust it actively. However, you can still do that if you go for the optional air suspension, which we also have equipped here with our SQ5 here today. And that one then, when you select the sport mode, it gets stiffer, comfort mode gets softer and so on. Air suspension in this segment of course always pretty cool. The GLC is also offering that from Mercedes. And yeah, Leah just said like, wait a minute, isn't that like a little bit of Mercedes GLC form here now on the rear? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but the difference is that Audi works here also with these overlapping features, whereas the GLC more looks like an egg shape in the rear. So this is like here, this overlapping thing that is still special for Audi. And one thing they want to do with that is here, highlight the light technology, because Audi says now, we are a light brand. Not like light and, you know, like not strong, but lights, you know, like a brand for light signatures and so on, yeah. And one thing they do, for example, yeah, you bought the Matrix LED as an option, and on top of that, you can buy the OLED, the organic LED. No, it's not alive, and you don't, it's nothing about animal rights or something. They're dead, but they're still called organic LED, and you can see they seem to be alive, because even here stationary, they change a little bit, and this is here the approaching light. So here, you can see here, they change a little bit like this, statically already. And then sometimes when, you know, it's working better with vehicles, but here when the sensors are blocked, I try to be a vehicle now, let's see. Sometimes it works better when, yeah, it works better when there's a car behind, but you've just seen it, and there's like this approaching light basically. Yeah, this is very interesting because this signals like when someone is getting too close to you, and you know there are these guys that always need to drive like this close to you, even also at the traffic light, and then they say like, hey, wait a minute, stop, that's getting too close. And yeah, why not? And this communication, there it is again. You can see this kind of like fills up. So yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, there we go. Leah has the magic. And even more interesting, look at that. This is the normal rear braking light here on the top. but underneath there is a new projection light, and you can see that when I'm now getting inside and hit the brake. So there we go. So now look at that. So you have the normal rear braking light, and then this additional projection that looks really fancy, doesn't it? And it is projected in the windscreen, but when you look at it from the lower part, you can also see where it is actually coming from. So yeah, great filming by Leah as well. So this is a very interesting light idea, and also when we hit the turning indicators, you can see this cascading form once again. And just checking, is this also like this? There is this triangle. So this is an additional warning. This is also something they want to introduce here with the new light technology and so on. So say like, hey, warning for everyone behind you. For example, also when you do an emergency braking, this could also be something that could be used. So yeah, very interesting ideas. And I mean, I'm really a fan of this projection. Could we see that very well? What was it good? Yeah. It's, pretty cool ideas, definitely. I mean, these are not features that are a must-have. They are a can-have, but I have to say, why not? What do you think? And yeah, it's the SQ5, the 3-liter V6, and there we can also see the massive exhaust. They look pretty cool, don't they? Left and right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, sorry. I mean, with all the details and so on, sometimes counting goes wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. A fifth one, I don't know. Maybe in the middle. Mehr in der Enttäuschung. Acoustic front windshield, by the way, is standard. Option, you can also get acoustic side windows for better NVH comfort. However, acoustic side windows in the rear are not available. Okay, and then let's talk about the engines. Lift it up, and we're starting here with the most powerful one, the typical well-known 3-liter V6 here in the SQ5, 367 horsepower. All-wheel drive, still with a rear-wheel bias. Here I also have this nice Audi Sport design. But if you want to go a little bit more efficient, you start with the 2-liter TFSI, so like turbo petrol engine, 204 horsepower, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and the 2-liter TDI, also 204 horsepower and all-wheel drive. Later on, there are plug-in hybrids to come based on a 2-liter TSI as well, and then with a new bigger battery, so around 26 kWh gross, probably again 20 kWh net battery like in the other VAG products, and they will also have a relatively high horsepower output. Interesting is that all engines, besides the plug-in hybrid, that is like a bigger plug-in hybrid anyway, so here the V6 and also the 2-liter turbo engines, diesel and petrol, they all have mild hybrid technology, 48-volt board net, with a relatively large battery for an MHEV system, so 1.7 kWh gross battery. So considering then it's not a plug-in hybrid or a typical like Toyota built-in hybrid, relatively big battery, so that means you will have some electric moments when rolling, you can recuperate energy and so on, or regenerate energy. And the thing is that this is supposed to give you more efficiency, at the same time also a little bit more power boost. And here this vehicle is Tambora Grey S-Line, but not the SQ5. However, S-Line and SQ5 are pretty similar in the styling, just that this one does not have the black package in this case. And you can see here the brighter Audi rings, which look more present, I feel, especially when they are not three-dimensional, but now more two-dimensional in this new styling. I think it is needed that they are bright, because otherwise you look in the back mirror and when the rings are darkened, I was like, what is this? I don't even know what brand this is, you know? So I think it's really important to have the bright Audi rings and not to dark them out, my opinion. Maybe you think differently. We can also see the gray here, accentuations, also here at the sides. Once again, painted wheel arches. You can also get exactly this color as contrasting wheel arches, but of course it doesn't work then when it's also this paint, but you could go for a different paint and then this color as a contrasting paint, but there is no black plain plastic wheel arch anymore, so they want to give that like a more upmarket styling. I do prefer here the chrome frames around the window. Do you? Tell me in the comments please. And also 21-inch wheels, but in a different styling. I think they look also pretty stunning. And then towards the rear, what is very interesting, here you can once again see this Audi Sport badge, just just that this does not have an S then. So this means then a Q5 in the S line. And indeed, no fake exhausts anymore, because even here the 2-liter TFSI, like the lower petrol engine, has a real exhaust. The air does go through. So indeed, years of work for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police have paid off, and Audi has removed the fake exhaust. It was such an interesting story behind it, because with the Q5 facelift that was introduced a couple of years ago, they actually improved the fake exhaust and made them, like an edge inside, that they look more real as a fake. And then, obviously all the customers and so on, and also we thought that's too much, and Audi realized that, got our feedback also from you in our comment section, and said, okay, we go for the real exhaust stuff again. And yeah, you can buy our merch now. This is like the 4K Let's Go t-shirt. You can get this one now. It's out now in our shop. It's under the video and also linked in the pinned comment video description. And of course, we still have our famous fake exhaust police t-shirt. You can get this too. And Leah discovered a very nice feature here with these wheel caps. Look at that. You can actually turn them, and then they return to the original stage again.
That's nice.
Yeah, a little bit Rolls-Royce styling. What about that? Onto the interior, matte black key. I like it actually, light, but still feels classy. Door closing sound. That's nice. Also check out the rear. Also pretty good, so I like that. Then inside of the doors, and we'll give you 2 different interiors very soon. Here, this is like somewhat soft touch, not super hard, but also not very soft. Then in this case here, with this trim, we have the microfiber on the inside. This complaining the key is not in the vehicle now. And what I like here, the matte black, so no high gloss black or something. This looks actually quite fancy. Here, this control of the seat memory function, and also light that went on the inside of the doors. This has pro and con. I'm soon going to show you why. Inside of the door is, however, not covered with felt or something. There's just a rubber pad on the lower ground. And then you can see S-line. So we have an S-line entry badge. And also the steering wheel. But this is also pretty similar then to the real S model. And we have this new curved panoramic screen. We already know it from the Audi Q6 e-tron. And this has been basically carried over. Soon more to that. Interesting also here, this decor element, different ones are available. This is, I would say it's okay. Why not? It looks a little bit plastic-y, I would feel. But in the SQ5 I also have a different decor element, which looks a little bit fancier. Soon going to show that to you. Seat from the comfort here is actually quite good. Then here, 189, 6'2", still a lot of headroom left, although this is here the panoramic roof. And this is also still a panoramic roof you can actually open. So yeah, that leaves a lot of air in. That's actually pretty fancy. Audi Q5 convertible, right? Seats, you get base fabric seats or the sport seats, S-Line or SQ5. These are the one here with the integrated head restraint and this stamped in S logo. And they are available here, for example, also with the microfiber Dynamica. Dynamica is the company producing that. Isofix on here on the front seat as well, passenger side. So this would also be my favorite option. Very nice, from the stitching here as well, in this styling. So I really like this quilted styling. Animal-free seats, well, only the base fabric seats, but Audi does not offer an animal-free interior, also not from the steering wheel yet. So there needs to be done from Audi, needs to be done more from Audi in that respect. Then the steering wheel itself has a very nice size, I would feel, and has capacitive buttons on it, but you feel the feedback. This is then here, screens. So you have standard here, this curved unit, and this is basically split in 12-inch on the left, 14.5 central, now Android Automotive base on the back end side, and then optional, the one you can see here, the passenger screen, then like this, 11-inch or 10.9 to be exact. And this is an option. You do not have to go for that one. There would be like a decor element otherwise at this place. There's always a discussion, do you need it or not? I don't feel a necessity for it. Some others like it. And then YouTube streaming is, by the way, now also possible with this vehicle. Here they still have a manual volume knob like this, at least. Drive select for the drive modes. You can click here and also click it through, so that is possible, otherwise in the infotainment. And then here, 2 USB-C chargers or inductive charging pads. This also has some cooling holes against overheating. Then the cup holders are adaptive and also with a nice ambient lighting integration. Also, this whole middle console has this slight ambient lighting integration. This is the shifting lever, D or S, sport mode or reverse for forward. Then you have this middle console right here. You can fold it up. This, I think, will be redesigned later on because underneath here, this is for these prototype vehicles. They have like this fail-safe switch because it's like, you know, when you have these first prototype vehicles, they need to have these safety mechanisms in place, this, you know, by law. So I think this will be a little bit lower than in the very final model. And here you can also adjust the armrest in here in height. So here when the door is open very wide and you reach for it like this, then you're basically touching these command fields here. So you have to remind yourself, yeah, but this can be too wide when the door is really open. And I have already long arms, you know, so this is like one of the problems here with this unit, this control unit, when it's at the inside of the doors right there. Then the driver POV right here. Once again, 2-dimensional Audi rings. Here you can adjust, for example, the view in the digital instruments. They are very clear to read, so that's actually fine. And yeah, like the layout we know from the Q6 e-tron recently. And you also get a head-up display like this. And there we also once again see our SQ5, where we soon get over once more. And then when you look to the right, you have this new large infotainment system, the largest that is available with Audi at this moment. Here you can also pick the individual driving modes, for example, and you can see the air suspension also adjusts to that. So a completely new view here to everything. This is then here this standard main menu like this. Climate unit is in the lower part. You click it here, for example. My fingers are not particularly short, but then here, what am I supposed to do with the rest of my hand? Then like do like this or like that? So, I mean, there needs to be space to, you know, like to make a finger. And you see what I mean? This is a huge design issue. Am I supposed to rest my hand like this and then do like that? And then you don't, I don't know. So this is to me a big design fail here in the interior. Rear seats here, the door doesn't open too wide for installing child seats and so on. Then the door on the inside, yeah, somewhat soft touch on top, but not too soft though. And here also have the microfiber inserts here, and this very trim. That's actually quite cool. And yeah, I like this, you know, more matte effect here. That's not all high gloss black, so I would favor this trim. No covering at the inside of the doors though, just a small rubber pad at the very lower bottom. Then also then the microfiber inserts here in this trim, also on the seats in the rear. And Isofix on the outsides each, and this is here the lever to control the back part of the seat. So you can have different positions than here. And let's see about the space. So behind the seats as I would be driving, you see you can use this recess here. It is close as for the legroom. Yeah, it does fit, but barely, I would say. And headroom with 189s, 6'2". Here with the panoramic roof, also barely fits, so it's not too much space in the rear. You can move this bench, by the way, so that's possible here front and back, so you can get a little more trunk space by that, for example. And as I said here, you can also move the inclination like this or more backward. The comfort itself on the back seats is actually fine, just yeah, that it's not too much space. In the middle part you can also sit, yeah, but it's definitely stiffer than here. Usually you have the outside seats then for most comfort. Then you can slide this down here, and they're adaptive cup holders. That's actually quite nice. So like this, and you can also press the button here and then use this one here as a single ski hatch to load things through. Then you have here 2 USB-C chargers in the top, and here also a separate climate unit for the rear. Then to the trunk or the boot or the Kofferraum, then we have all the different languages. Kofferraum, listen and repeat. Kofferraum is like luggage room would be the direct translation German to English. Kofferraum it is. Some German lessons always here. Then here we can see is approximately a meter or 40 inches in width, and yeah, a little bit less than a meter or 40 inches in length. And the height here is about 74 centimeters or 29 inches. And I have already removed here this shelf on the top part, which is very interesting. I'm soon going to show that to you here. for example, we can deploy the towing hook underneath, then it comes out. There we go. Then 2 tons for the front-wheel drive version, 2.4 tons for all all-wheel drive versions, like here also the SQ5. If you have the air suspension, you can also here lower the vehicle in the rear a little bit for easier loading in and out. This step here has become a little bit less than before, actually. Did I say 520 liters already? So it's 520 liters in total, but they still wanted to keep a little bit of a step that, you know, when you accelerate hard, like here with the SQ5, and then maybe after it open the trunk, like nothing is falling towards you or something. That was the reason behind it. And now to this parcel shelf, which is really interesting because you can hide it underneath. It's a great idea. So here you can put this one up, and there it is. You can store it there. So you need to remove this part here. This is not the most beautiful thing then. And then it's like here, I need to push it a little bit like this here, and then you put it here in first, and then you push it on the other side a little bit. So because you know that these things, they maybe fly around in the garage or something, but by that you can always take it with you. It's cleverly and cleanly stored. There we go. Wasn't too bad. So this, by the way, like some charging equipment here for the studio, that the battery doesn't get empty when the lights are running all time. So this is not standard equipment in this case. Yeah, what is standard equipment with the modern Audi? Hardly anything. That's the thing. That's also the thing why people tend to buy Teslas now, because they say, hey, I just pay one price and have everything included and don't have to owe like 3,000 years in the configurator. However, what Audi is doing, that they try to make it a little bit more simplified and do more like packages instead of like all single individual options. So more going in the like US market strategy and so on. So then here we can also install it, like, slide in there and then press it like this. And there we go. And then we have our classic slider here, the classic cover. There we go. And we can also fold the seats left and right. Yeah, for that it would have been better when it's still out. Sorry for that. But I think you can still very well see it. Then you have to go through, and then you can push it down to fix it really. Yeah, that doesn't really work yet because of the front seat. But you can fix it here on the lower part, and then you have to unfix it again, unlock it again to put it up. And the complete length would be 1.75 m or 69 inches. And this is here our SQ5 interior, with the only difference that, yeah, the ambient lighting has a different color, but you can individualize that here, this light bar and so on. Well, the only real difference is here, the different deco element, but you can also choose that. In this case here, it's like an open cell carbon fiber, I would say. So this does not have this typical covering, this high gloss covering. You can really feel the carbon fiber, and I think that's actually a little bit cooler. But yeah, you can switch deco elements and ambient lighting colors anyway, so I really have to say that S-Line and SQ5 interior are more or less the same. Tell me, what do you think about the all-new Audi Q5? And the big question will be, of course, how does it rate to the competitors, either the Mercedes GLC or also the recently revealed BMW X3?